Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me for today's edition of the Danielle Daily. We are here bright and early this morning. I was up early, I was feeling good, and I thought, okay, I am ready to get this edition out there. I have a fun story for you today. I'm actually going to admit to a funny practice that I have that I use when I'm feeling unloved, and I'm feeling a little uncomfortable about admitting it because I know that once it's out there, everybody's going to know that I do this, and it's kind of embarrassing, and so there's a little part of me that's like, well, I might end up deleting this video, but hopefully I will be brave enough to admit to it and to stand by it and to let this video stay out there. So I'm Danielle Watson. This is the Danielle Daily Show. Thank you so much for joining me here. I really appreciate you. On the Danielle Daily, I promise that you will always find something positive, something fun, or something inspiring. So I'm hoping that by my admitting to something that I do that is kind of silly, that will be your something fun today. So we will see. It looks like Tammy Keck is watching. Thank you so much. I know it's early. I'm hoping that those of you who are watching have a nice mug of coffee or tea and you're just kind of settled in, starting your morning. I know I was up and at 'em super early this morning. I already had my tea by the fireplace. It felt wonderful. It was a great start to the day. And now I'm excited to chat with you guys here. It looks like Julio has joined us. Thank you so much, my #1 fan. Really appreciate you. So today I am going to admit to you something very silly that I do when I'm feeling unloved, and I'll be curious to hear from you if you feel like this is something that you would ever be willing to try, or if I'm just crazy and I'm kind of the only person who would do this. I will have today's note to self for you, and I will explain to you why I have started this silly practice, how it helps me, and why I think it's important that we all have some sort of practice like this to help us feel more love for ourselves. It looks like Tammy says, finally have coffee after lab work this morning. Awesome. Yeah, I know for some people having that early morning coffee is sort of imperative for starting their day, so that even if they have to do things before they're able to have coffee, that part of their day sort of doesn't exist. And the day doesn't really start until after coffee time. So I'm glad you were able to get home and to enjoy your cup of delicious coffee. So again, if you're just joining us, I'm Danielle Watson. This is the Danielle Daily. I am about to admit to you a silly practice that I have developed. It's a little bit embarrassing, and I'm hoping I will have the bravery to not only admit this, but to stand by it and to let this video stay out there for people to watch after the broadcast, because I'm definitely feeling a little bit like, oh, is this really something I should tell people I do? But it is something I do, and it really does help me. So I'm hoping by sharing it with you, it will be something that helps you. And I hope to make you laugh, because it is sort of a silly practice. And I don't really know how I came by it. I think I was just driving in the car one day, and the idea came to me. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to see how this feels. So let me know if you have any practices that you think are silly that you do when you're feeling unloved to kind of help yourself feel a little bit more loved. It looks like Michael Keck has joined us. Thank you so much. I would love your feedback once I share what my practice is, on if you think it's completely crazy, or if you think it's something that you might be willing to try, or that you think would help you if you were feeling a little bit unloved. So here it is. So I don't know about you, but I like to listen to music in the car. And when I'm driving down the road, I will usually listen to the radio, and I'll be changing it to different stations. And last year was a really difficult year for me, and I found that I could be somewhere like a store or in the car, and music would come on, and depending on the tone of the music, I was very susceptible to the vibe of it. So if it was a happy song, I felt happy. If it was a love song, I felt sad instead of loved. And so I noticed that music very much had an influence on me. And I remember feeling really sick and tired of every time a love song came on, feeling lonely and feeling sad and feeling like, you know, love is lost in my life right now. And one day I was driving down the road in the car, and the Bruno Mars song, Just the Way You Are, was pretty popular last year, and I heard it a lot, and I thought about that song and how I would love it if somebody would feel the way about me that he was expressing that he felt about the woman in that song. But then I tweaked it a little bit. This is where things get a little bit silly and a little bit weird. So it looks like Sean Keck has joined us. Jay has joined us. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, I'm Danielle Watson. This is the Danielle Daily. I am on the edge of admitting to a practice that I have developed that is really quite silly, and I'm hoping that you guys will get a good laugh at, that helps me when I'm feeling unloved. So I was just saying that last year the Bruno Mars song, Just the Way You Are, was pretty popular, and I heard it on a fairly regular basis. And I remember thinking, like probably a lot of women who heard that song, oh, I would love it if someone would feel that way about me. But then I tweaked what he was saying there. I heard him singing to this woman about how she was perfect just the way she was, and that everything about her was wonderful, and that he loved her so much. And I turned that perspective in my head to what if, this is where it gets weird, okay? Are you guys ready for this? I turned it to two things. One, what if I imagined that instead of somebody singing that to me, it was God or the universe singing it to me, that I was perfect and I was wonderful just the way I was? And what if I turned it to, I was singing that to myself, and that I loved and accepted myself just the way I was? So that is my embarrassing, silly admission. So when I hear a song like that, I now hear not that person singing it to a lover, but I hear the universe or God singing it to me, or I imagine myself singing those words to myself about how loved I am. And it really helps me when I'm feeling unloved. It's a way for me to be influenced by the feel of the music, and to redirect that love at myself rather than out into the world. So I'm just being blown up with hearts and thumbs ups right now. Thank you so much. So I'm curious, does that sound completely silly and crazy to you guys? Is that something you would ever try? Have you now decided that I must be completely insane? I love being able to do this, and it was really that Bruno Mars song, Just the Way You Are, that inspired me to do it. I love the way that he was singing, you know, you're perfect just the way you are. And I just flipped that around and imagined that it was God or the universe telling me, you're perfect just the way you are, I love you so much. Or that it was myself singing to myself, you're perfect, I love you just the way you are, you're wonderful. And now I do it with many different songs. When I hear a love song, I just imagine that love being directed to me from the universe or God or from myself, and it just fills my heart. It lifts me up. I feel like it's a life hack that I use that helps me feel better about myself. So Tammy Keck says, not silly at all, yay! Anybody else have any comments on that? Is that something that you've tried before? Have you thought about doing it? Is that something that you would do in the future now that you've heard how crazy I am? Is that something that you would try to help make yourself feel better? Julio says that is not weird. It's normal to love ourselves, and we need to realign our mind to that. Sounds to me that this is exactly what you're doing. Thank you, Julio. I'm glad that you don't think it's weird that I sing love songs to myself in the car. I appreciate that. Jay says, love is the answer. God doesn't make junk. I love that. Yes, more love is the answer to all of the world's problems. I absolutely believe that. Michael Keck says, sing it, sing it, sing it. I love that. So yeah, that's the silly thing I do when I'm feeling unloved. And the reason I do it is because I'm really committed to cultivating a practice of loving myself for the purpose of being a more loving person in the world and being able to offer more love to others. I truly believe that the more we treat ourselves well, the more we love and respect ourselves, the more we see ourselves as someone of value, and the more we understand that by cultivating ourselves, it allows us to offer more, the more we're able to make a difference in the world, the more we're able to give to others, the more we're able to support others, the more we're able to make the kind of changes in the world that we want to make. And that all starts by going inward and changing the way we feel about ourselves and what we're capable of and what our value is. Tammy Keck says, Bruno Mars would love it. Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious if somehow he found out that I was using his song that way. Oh my goodness, I'm imagining that doing something on Twitter, and oh my goodness, I'm not going to go there. So yeah, so the reason that I have this practice of finding ways to help myself feel more loved when I don't feel loved is because I feel it's really important for each of us to love and value ourselves so that we're able to be there for other people who matter to us. It looks like Julio says, I thought you were going to confess about the hamster dance video. No, that is out there in public. So yesterday, Julio sent me a fabulous link to this hilarious cat with rainbows and music that it goes for 4 minutes and it never changes, and it's hilarious. And he really said, you know, this is something that he uses. Yesterday I was talking about distraction. And he said this is something that distracts him, and the hamster dance is actually something from way back in the 90s, and I didn't even see it until well into the 2000s. But I remember the first time I saw this ridiculous hamster dance, and if you Google it, it's the original hamster dance from 1997, and I just started laughing like a maniac. And every once in a while, when I am having a rough day and I know I need to laugh, I will look at that hamster dance because it's just ridiculous. It's not even complicated or special, but there's something about it that just like really hits me in the funny bone, and I know that it will help me feel better and make me laugh. So I am going to give you guys today's note to self in just a moment. I just wanted to take a quick glance at my notes to see if there was anything else that I wanted to say that I haven't yet. Oh, so another reason I want us to practice loving ourselves is also so that we can receive love from others. It's interesting how when we don't really love ourselves and somebody else tries to give love to us, we don't receive it very well. We say, oh, you know, I'm not lovable, or I didn't do anything special, or we just sort of, we block it. And I don't know about you, but I like it when I want to give a gift to somebody, whether that is a gift of love or a gift of a compliment, and they're able to receive it. It doesn't really feel very good when you try to give something positive to somebody and they're not able to receive it. So cultivating a practice of loving yourself makes you more able to receive love from others. And I think that's really important, because who likes to be the person who is giving a gift and the other person can't receive it? It feels yucky. Nobody likes that. Tammy Keck says, hamster dance video just went viral. Oh my goodness. That's another embarrassing thing that I didn't realize I'd be admitting today, but that's a really fun story. If you have not seen the hamster dance, definitely look it up. And the final reason I wanted to give, besides, you know, feeling good about ourselves, being able to give love to others, being able to receive love from others, is when you cultivate a practice of loving yourself and feeling loved, whether that's by being ridiculous like me and hearing Bruno Mars' song as if the universe is singing to you about how much it loves you, or God is singing to you, or you're even singing to yourself about how much you love yourself, whether you do it that way or you have a slightly more sane way of doing that, I think that when we do that, we radiate love. People feel loved and loving just being in our presence, even if we're not saying anything. That's definitely something that I have noticed as I have cultivated a practice of self-love, is that people say, you know, I feel so good when I'm around you, and I love that. It's not my goal that, oh, I need to project this love to other people so that they all love me. I'm just sitting here sort of loving myself and trying to be a more loving person, and that just gives off a vibe where people feel so good around me, they feel so accepted, they feel like they can tell me anything about themselves, and that I will still love and accept them, because that's just who I am. That's just who I've practiced myself into becoming, somebody who loves myself and who loves others. And I know that you guys are all working on that as well. And so I wanted to share with you one of my embarrassing and silly things that I do that helps me to do that. So thank you for letting me know that you don't think that's ridiculous. And thank you to Julio for sending me the rainbow cat video. I can't remember the name of it, but it was hilarious. And thank you for reminding me of the hamster dance. That always makes me laugh. So today's note to self, remember to write it down. You never know when this is going to be the exact thing that you need to hear to keep yourself moving in the direction that you want to go. Here it is. So today's note to self says, "Dear self, the more love you feel for yourself, the more love you will feel for others." I'll read that again. Dear self, the more love you feel for yourself, the more love you will feel for others. And when I write these down, I like to sign it "Love Me." That's how I do it. You can sign it with your name. If you don't feel comfortable writing it as a note to self, you can always say, "Love Danielle." That would work too. You can have my permission to do that. Danielle says, the more love I have for myself, the more love I will have for others. And if that's something you want to have, this is a great note to self to have, to remind you of that. You can put it up on your refrigerator. You can put it up on your bathroom mirror so that you see it when you're brushing your teeth in the morning. I really hope that these notes to self are helpful for you. You know, when I wrote the first 365 notes to self, they were really, truly notes just for me, and it was just sort of happenstance that other people liked them too. And now when I'm writing them, I'm thinking about myself, but I'm mostly thinking about you guys and how I can help you practice keeping your mind focused on how you want to live your life and how you want to think and how you want to behave, no matter, you know, what's going on in your life. So I'm hoping these are helpful. If you find the notes to self are really not resonating with you or really not helpful, I'd love it if you'd let me know. Like, I love the Danielle Daily, but the notes to self, not really caring for that, and we can make changes. You know, I do this show because I love you guys so much, and I do it so that hopefully I'm adding something to your life that's helping you live the life that you want to live. And without you guys, I would not be showing up here every day. I would not be putting on my lipstick. I would not be turning on the fireplace to do this, because you know, doing this for myself is kind of boring, but doing it for you is very exciting. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Let me read you the note to self one more time, just in case you missed it. So it says, "Dear self, the more love you feel for yourself, the more love you will feel for others." So that was today's edition of the Danielle Daily. I'm Danielle Watson. As always, remember, you can leave me a comment during the broadcast. You can leave a comment on the recording. You can message me privately if you want to share something with me that you're not excited about the whole world reading. Thank you for joining me. Let me know if you think that this practice is something that you will try. And I appreciate those of you who were live on the podcast, who supported my particular brand of crazy today. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Jay has a comment. Jay says, "Nice job, Danielle. You are loved, and thanks for the message of love today." Thank you, Jay. You are loved too, and you are very welcome for the message of love. And all the hearts and all the thumbs up are going across my screen right now. I can barely see my own face because there are so many hearts and thumbs ups coming right now. So thank you guys. Really, you fill my heart. You really do. There's nothing better than feeling like I'm actually doing something that you appreciate and that is helping you. So thank you for that feedback. Please share this broadcast. Please like the broadcast. Help other people have a little ray of sunshine and love in their feed today to counteract whatever other things might be coming up. And I really appreciate you. I'll see you again tomorrow, okay? Love you guys. Bye. Mwah.